and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we have a couple of folks that are going to introduce you to careers in the transportation field. And we are particularly talking to high school kids who may not have considered this option. My guests are from VDOT, Queen Crittenden, and Quincy Daniel from our own Public Works Department. Welcome.
Thank you, Robin.
This is an interesting idea to hit high school kids before they lock in on what kind of a career they want.
This is true.
People don't think about, the array of what's out there necessarily, I think. Mm-hmm. So talk to me, first of all, about the initiative you have for a transportation expo.
Well, the Virginia Department of Transportation came up with the idea actually 11 years ago. And this is our second year for the Hampton Roads Transportation Career Expo. And it really is designed to expose high school students to careers in the transportation industry.
What kind of careers are in the like when you say transportation industry, it's it's huge, right?
It's huge, and that's what we wanted kids to understand, and even the parents and teachers, because there are careers in highway construction, in terms of bridge building, tunnels, ferries, and so introducing almost in terms of aviation and logistics and ports. Those are things that we also want to introduce to high school students. Sometimes we think on the technical side, but also in transportation, we have finance and accounting and management and human resources. So it gives the kids an opportunity to see the wide perspective of all careers and opportunities.
Okay. And Quincy, you guys are going to be at this expo.
Yes.
And why is that?
Well, we're going to outline public works, for the maintenance side, with traffic engineering, stormwater.
All right, so go slow. So maintenance side means doing maintenance on the big trucks or
Correct.
Any little trucks, but the trash trucks, there's a lot of trucks.
Right, right. Well,
there's asphalt.
Right, and it's just outlining what we do day in and day out to help support the city's infrastructure. That's the maintenance part of it, from stormwater, from the cleaning of ditches, which I'm especially familiar with. Then you have wastewater, who keeps all of our septic systems correct, working properly. Streets and roads, that keeps our roads smooth.
Does the potholes. We do some contracting for some of the big stuff, but the repaving and the potholes, we do a lot of that with city staff.
So all the public works will be in.
Driving any vehicle, any of those big trucks, whether it's a trash truck, whether it's, I don't know, there's so many back there.
And we've been pretty amazed. The kids are very excited about heavy equipment. So that's part of the expo.
Well, it's so interesting because the Junior League does this touch-a-truck thing, and little kids love heavy equipment. My kid was fascinated by that when he was little. I mean, we chased forklifts around the store so he could watch it. And they lose a little bit of that,
They do.
And so you guys are reminding them of the cool factor.
Right. One of the goals to show kids through transportation opportunities, through hands-on demonstrations and exhibits. And so they get to engage with simulations. So we know the millennial population, they're very visual. And so to show them, you have to put that information in front of them so they see what those opportunities actually look like.
So there's a variety of jobs in this field, all the way from, your kind of manual labor, skilled, but, manual labor up through advanced engineering and things like that.
Construction management, correct.
Right, and management. What are some of the things that someone could do right out of high school or maybe with an on-the-job training program?
Okay. You want to take that?
Well, we bring them in, and we have drainage technicians. I believe wastewater has technicians, and we also, throughout the summer, hire interns, to get them a feel for the public sector, for public works.
And so they could presumably go straight from high school to a full-time job with benefits. I mean, that's hard these days. That's really a rare thing.
And so when they're with having businesses there, construction firms and professional service firms there, they're going to talk about apprenticeship opportunities, journeyman opportunities, on the job types of training programs that exist, as well as scholarships. Because one piece, while we focus on high school, we're also inviting college students to participate from our local university and college community, to talk about those careers, because we view them as actually workforce ready.
Well, it is an interesting thing. I mean, I know I'm actually familiar with Thomas Nelson's program for car mechanics, auto mechanics. I know Tidewater has one for aviation mechanic. I mean, there's a lot of available training. What you said we may not have is one for heavy diesel training, and maybe we need to get that in the pipeline.
Right. Well, part of the pipeline is introducing them to various academic programs that currently exist throughout Hampton Roads. And so those kinds of schools will also be available from a technical standpoint, so that kids will know, the opportunities are available to them.
Well, and in the engineering field, it just seems to me that those opportunities are going to continue to grow. With the Chesapeake Bay Preservation Act, we analyze everything, and the wastewater impacts and runoff impacts, and there's just so many. To build a road, you have to have an absolute ton of engineering studies done, right?
Correct. That's correct. And we look at, in terms of studies, in terms of the impact, like you said, with regard to the environment. So, being analytical and being able to have those skill sets are very important to our industry. And one of the things, one of the reasons for the expo is that because we know the statistics behind the why we're doing this.
All right, so let's talk about that.
Okay. And one of the things, the Transportation Research Board did a study, and they said that 50% of state agency transportation workforce will be eligible for retirement within 10 years. And so we recognize that there may be a shortfall, in those areas that look at and start developing their workforce and looking at the future will be ahead of that curve. And so now is the time for those in transportation to be part of that conversation, because the competition will be stiff. Everybody's going to be looking for the best and the brightest. And so we want to do our part in order to be very competitive within the industry.
Well, you guys are a little bit ahead of the curve, because I think the whole workforce is seeing this coming. As the baby boomers all get to retirement age, there's going to be a gap. And the millennials are almost as big as the baby boomers, and then you have, the Gen Xers there in the middle. But getting people ready for careers is a huge step. I mean, you can't just walk in and be a heavy equipment operator. It takes a little more preparation than that.
And see, for that reason, that's why we're so pleased to have the partnership with the Department of Education, because they recognize that as well. And so getting the students prepared for the workforce, their focus is partnering with education and industry to make sure that the curriculums are appropriate and that we're bringing forth the right kinds of training in order to prepare for the future. So, we really appreciate them stepping in and recognizing the importance of what we're trying to do.
Well, you've seen a lot of that, I think, in the past, and that kids sort of gravitate to whatever career is cool at the time,
Correct.
whether a percentage of jobs are appropriate in there or not. So broadening their horizons, broadening their interest, and looking at where the jobs are and how can I find one within that interests me and prepare myself for it. It's a huge step forward.
Correct. One of the areas that I'm responsible for as the district civil rights manager is to ensure there's equal access. So one of the focuses will also be on how can we increase the representation of women and minorities in the transportation industry.
That's and across the board, not just in, maybe the more physical ones, but in the engineering side and the high-tech side as well.
Correct. And that's where we see under representation.
women and minorities, it's been hard to get them in those. I think they get pushed out early on, or they don't think, here we are remembering Katherine Johnson and in the 50s and her groundbreaking mathematical work for NASA.
True.
And it's still, there are not enough women, and especially black women and African Americans, in those fields. People get discouraged early on or don't have the push that it takes, or the support that it takes to even consider that option.
And so that's why exposure is key.
Okay, so that's the plan, and you guys tell me again where and when this is.
It will be held on November the 2nd. It will be at the Hampton Convention Center, and we're excited. We invite everyone to come out to participate with us in terms of businesses, organizations that support the industry. And particularly, we want Hampton Public Schools to be represented.
So primarily, this is during the day, this is during the school day. The kids are going to get there on buses through their high schools.
Right.
But homeschooled kids, parents, other people can come, correct?
Well, in terms of for those within the public school system, homeschool kids are welcome to participate. We do have a registration process for those to participate. So it isn't open to the general public simply in terms of high schools, but registration, if they visit www.hrtransfoexpo.com. They can take a look at our website. We have some great photos from last year's event, and so you'll learn a little bit more about the program and get some details and how to register.
Okay, that sounds great. Now I'm going to ask another question. If someone is out there and thinking, I might be interested in this, and I'm a grown-up, but maybe I'm looking at career switching, or maybe I'm in a transitional phase, are there programs or job training things for people who have experience but are thinking about this field? Are there things that grown-ups can do? How would they go about getting more information or looking into jobs?
As far as I know, they require a minimal experience to come in for us. So if you can equate to the minimum experience, a lot of stuff we do once you get in the door with the City of Hampton, we will train you for whichever avenue you pursue once you get in there. So that's how we work over there. So you'd have to meet at least the minimum quals to get hired on.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for watching. I hope you've learned a little bit about the wide array of careers out there, and especially to work with our high school kids to consider these options as they think about their education and their careers. Thanks for watching.